LeBron James has to be a topic of discussion, particularly in the aftermath of Darvin Ham being fired as head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers on Friday. I do not like it. I think it's jacked up that Darvin Ham is gone. I think he's been scapegoated. I'm pissed off about it. But I'm not surprised by it. But no matter how pissed off I am about it, it was nothing compared to my man Mike Wilbon. For pardon the interruption fame, former columnist for the Washington Post, my colleague and contemporary on NBA Countdown. Mike Wilbon, I was with him all weekend. He was furious. Absolutely furious. And if you don't believe me, look at it for yourself.
If you want to be the GOAT, you want to tell everybody you're the GOAT, you're the greatest player of all time, you want to have it on podcasts, you want to have it, then take accountability like one. Do that.
Say no more. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. By the way, even Kendrick Perkins is rethinking his position on calling LeBron James the GOAT. Because with GOAT status comes accountability. This is not a ninth coach that LeBron James has had in his 21-year career. He's going to be on his 10th coach. Now, Shaq had 13. Kobe had 10. Jason Kidd had 9. We get all of that. Okay? But look at this right here. LeBron James, Cavaliers, Paul Silas, Brendan Malone as an interim, Mike Brown for 5 years, Heat with Eric Spoelstra. If it were up to LeBron, one could argue that wouldn't have happened because LeBron wasn't high on Eric Spoelstra when he first arrived. Pat Riley just let him know, no, bro, you ain't running this organization. I am. Eric Spoelstra ain't going no damn place. And sure enough, Eric Spoelstra has proven to be one of the great, great coaches in the history of the game. You got Cavaliers coach David Blatt. Well, David Griffin, the GM at the time, didn't really want Blatt. Ownership wanted Blatt, but they wouldn't have picked Blatt if LeBron James had spoken up and fought for Ty Lue, which he didn't do. So you had to deal with Blatt for a year and some games before they ultimately got rid of him and inserted Ty Lue in there, and then they won the championship. Then you got the Lakers with Luke Walton, who LeBron James he inherited. He didn't pick him. But then you had something to do with Frank Vogel being there. You had something to do with Darvin Ham being there. I'm not going to even get into the fact that I don't like the fact that he didn't speak up for the brother. That would have been nice. Darvin Ham, in 2 years, take you to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, you would think you go to the Western Conference Final last year. This year, you get bounced out in the first round. But both losses were to the Denver Nuggets, who's universally recognized up to this point, up before Saturday, as the best team in basketball. So I'd have done that. All right, I'd have fought for Darvin Ham. But we knew from the time that Anthony Davis spoke out about how discombobulated and disorganized they were following their Game 2 loss in Denver. We knew the days were numbered for Darvin Ham. We knew that. That's what Anthony Davis did on purpose. You don't say something like that and don't think that's gonna be a positive reflection on a coach. You know exactly what you were doing. But that's not either here nor there. You see Darvin Ham's record right there, 90-74 in 2 seasons, 2 playoff appearances, 1 conference finals appearances, 2 seasons as the Lakers coach. And by the way, last year when he got them to the conference finals, they did most of it primarily without the services of LeBron James during the regular season because LeBron James was hurt for a chunk of games. But that's neither here nor there. Who the Lakers are going to get, what they're going to do moving forward remains to be seen. I'd like to see Mark Jackson get a look. How about that? The man who's been blackballed for no conceivable, explainable reason. That would be nice. Phil Handy being out as assistant coach. Hell, he came to LA because LeBron asked him to come. And I'm being told the reason the whole coaching staff was going, including him, was because, he wasn't vibing with the narrative that it was a coaching problem. The players were being allowed to run the asylum per se. And so he's out. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens to him and whether or not he's going to be brought back. Is LeBron going to facilitate that? Why am I asking these questions about LeBron? Because we got to stop acting. Ladies and gentlemen, is LeBron James worthy of the GOAT conversation or not? For me, it's MJ all day, every day. But for some of you young whippersnappers, breath smelling like Similac, wet behind the ears, who don't know no damn better, of course you're going to say LeBron James. Fine. Are you willing to concede that if we're having a conversation about who the true GOAT is, that some level of accountability must come with it? When has LeBron James spoken up for a coach? Remember how Michael Jordan was like, When Phil's gone, I'm gone. You ain't get rid of him. Remember how Patrick Ewing used to stick up for Jeff Van Gundy? Remember how Alonzo Mourning stuck up for Pat Riley? Remember that? Remember that? Now, I notice a pattern, and one could easily argue that, the white coaches get stuck up for. We ain't hear about brothers being stuck up for. Okay, that's a different subject for another day. That's not necessarily applicable here, just worth noting from a curiosity standpoint. But here's my point about LeBron James. How can you be on a Mount Rushmore of basketball and be completely innocent at the same time for every coach that gets let go under your watch? How is that possible? How? I mean, you listen to Rich Paul and these folks in his camp. What? Why don't you just put a turban or something around LeBron James and call him Gandhi? Does he do anything wrong? Does he? When I get a little nervous, I go to the toilet. You see other people do stuff all the time. They pass gas. They burp. Sometimes, not me, but I've been around people who clearly forgot to take a damn shower or preferred not to. They stink. Or they might take a shower and think their soap is refreshing to everybody else as they may believe it is to them. Don't put on no damn deodorant, and they still stink. We're human beings. Shit happens. Except if you're LeBron James. It's never that. Never. Coach come, coach go. Nothing to do with you. Rob Pelinka, running the Los Angeles Lakers, having just won a championship in a bubble, I guess he was the one that said, we really, really want Russell Westbrook here. And we want to trade away Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and let Alex Caruso walk out the door to the Chicago Bulls for nothing. I guess Rob Pelinka did that all by himself. LeBron James had nothing to do with it. Anthony Davis had nothing to do with it. Come on, y'all. It's not a crime if you did. The crime is acting like you have nothing to do with these things. I can tell you this for a fact. Let me tell you something about this woman, Jeannie Buss, the board of governor for the Los Angeles Lakers, part owner, a wonderful woman with a beautiful soul. Let me tell you something about Jeannie Buss. There is nothing more important to her than keeping LeBron James happy. Absolutely, positively nothing. Not Pelinka, not any of the players, not any of the coaches. I mean, she does, listen, better not mess with Linda Rambis. Jeannie ain't having that. And damn it, I might fight you too, because I've grown to love Linda. Okay? But that's about the only safe person with Jeannie Buss. No one else is untouchable with her. But LeBron James. He gonna get his 3-year extension. He gonna get his money. Hell, if he wants them to, they'll grab Bronny. No one else might. Not yet at this stage and point in his career anyway. But grabbing him, putting him in the G League, developing him along the way, would the Lakers do that for LeBron James? In a heartbeat. I'm telling you what I know. They wouldn't hesitate. How is it that you have that kind of influence, but you are innocent Abe when it comes to coaches getting fired? When it comes to roster changes? You have nothing to do with it? Of course you do. Which is why Darvin Ham being fired and him approaching his 10th coach in 21 years is something that should affect whatever GOAT status y'all want to attach him to. Leadership is a component of it. Continuity, trust, accountability is a part of it. And when you act like it has nothing to do with you and it can't be touched, that's very suspicious. That's very suspicious. LeBron James is a phenomenal player. But that's not enough for him. He likes to control narratives. And he likes to put folks out there to control narratives for him. Why is LeBron James, who is worth almost $1 billion, if not more than $1 billion, who is one of the top 2 greatest players in the history of basketball, who is approaching his 21st season? Look at me, Galen! Why is this man in his 21st season? Yes, I'm screaming at my producers. This man is in his 21st season, approaching age 40, worth over $1 billion, looking for ownership, because I know these kind of things, trying to connect with people, the Saudis, for crying out loud. They looking for some money, for some partners to be an NBA owner. Trust me, I know this stuff. Why is that guy on a fucking basketball podcast? All of a sudden, you want to teach the game. All of a sudden, you want to edify the public and enunciate and articulate the pure embodiment of what basketball is all about. Really? Suddenly that interests you. Suddenly that interests you. This ain't throwing no shade on the podcast that he's got with JJ Redick. It is a sensational podcast. And if you want to know about basketball, those are 2 brothers to listen to. I'm not throwing a speck of shade on them about it at all. I'm simply asking a question. After all of this time, after the shop, after acting in Trainwreck, after creating shows for Hollywood, after doing all of this, suddenly, now you want to talk basketball in its purest sense. One would think that would have been your original idea, as opposed to jumping in as the latest podcast that tens of thousands of people already have. You're doing it because he wants to position himself to control the narrative. Fair enough. It's not a crime against that. Just one thing. True GOATs don't have to do that. Because they the GOAT. And it's kind of self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? But LeBron feels the need to do that now. I wonder why.